Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today will probably be the second to last episode with Gavin's San Jose team. Been a really fun run. I would like to recover from that last episode. We unfortunately took 2 losses, but it definitely is a really neat team to use, and I'm glad I got to feature it on the channel. But I am working on getting my next team in game, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, you know, the metagame has developed a fair amount, so I do want to try out some new things, and I think it should be pretty exciting. But this team is definitely, you know, for me, I actually am learning a lot still. For example, like the last team that I was using, because it was so hyper offensive, I wasn't switching very often. But for example, with this team, like one thing that I realized I am not doing very well, and then one thing that could definitely help me more is capitalizing more on switches. And for me, I'm always just really afraid of my opponent reading switches, but for example, in the first game of yesterday's episode, there were definitely some better switches I could have been making in the beginning of the game. So we're going to get started with a 1692 rated opponent from Japan. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like in the video. It would really mean a lot to me. And yeah, go check out my San Jose team analysis too if you're interested in the previous team we were using on Road to Rank. My opponent's running a really interesting team of Porygon Z, Arcanine, Metagross, Tapu Fini, Alolan Marowak, and the Vanillux. So, you know, 3 of the 6 same Pokemon were on Sejong Park's recent team, which he built off of another popular Japanese player. So in that team, it was like Adaptability, Scarf Porygon Z, Specs Fini, Fire Gem, Arcanine, or Fire Z move Arcanine. So let's see. Like, setting up Trick Room seems relatively easy here, and Araquanid honestly seems like a really strong Pokemon. Araquanid plus Magnezone. The main thing I'm fearing is that Marowak, though. So I think I'm going to lead Hariyama Porygon as I normally do. Leading Magnezone isn't that safe. Yeah, especially because he could switch into Marowak. I'm going to bring Araquanid in the back. For the last one, it's between Drampa and Magnezone. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Magnezone, because if I can eliminate Marowak, then Magnezone's Thunderbolts can freely wreak havoc. Yeah, I'll go Magnezone. Because I am a little bit worried about Fini. It's incredible to me how popular Tapu Fini is getting to. We've seen a couple of notable players use it, obviously. Sejong and Enosh were 2 of the first top players to use it and have good success with it. And then over in Dallas Regionals over New Year's weekend, I believe out of the 16 teams that top cut, 8 had Tapu Fini, which was a crazy statistic. So I'm going to go with Porygon 2 and Hariyama here, threading Trick Room immediately. He's going to go with Fini and Arcanine, which is okay. So these leads are always tricky because it's like I want to bring in Araquanid, but I don't want to just take a Moonblast to the face. And I think I get the attack increase here. Let's see. Download comes out. Yeah. Definitely going for the Trick Room here. I could switch out, but I don't want... Well, what did my opponent have in the back again? My goal should really be to bait out Araquanid and knock it out. I'm gonna fake out the Fini and just Trick Room here because I want to get the chip damage going onto Fini. Fini's an annoying Pokemon, especially if I don't have... he does a little bit more than I anticipated there too. We do just see a Flare Blitz come out of Arcanine, so perhaps this is expanded. That does do a ton of damage, but Arcanine also takes a fair amount in recoil damage. So I will get the Trick Room up successfully. Now, once again, one of the more annoying things about playing against the Tapu Fini is that I never get the Flame Orb up, and that's actually a bulkier leftovers Fini. Okay. That's also annoying. So, I obviously would like to close combat that Arcanine slot. He could switch into Marowak, which is what I'm fearing. And if I could catch a Marowak switching off guard and go for the knockoff, that would be phenomenal. I think I actually want to switch out Porygon 2 here into Araquanid. This was something that I should have done yesterday. And I'll go for the knockoff onto Arcanine in case he does switch into Marowak. So Porygon switches out first. Arcanine comes in. I'm, you know, a little bit less concerned about Fini's damage output now. He doesn't switch out, unfortunately. So I will get this close knockoff off. Oh, he actually had Citrus. Going for the taunt, too. So he did have taunt on Fini. Interesting. And just another Flare Blitz, probably targeting down Arcanine. Or, sorry, Hariyama. But I think I'm okay with that. So I lose Hariyama, I find out Fini has taunt, get a lot of good information, and Arachnid comes in for free. And close combat actually would have been worse onto Hariyama, or onto Arcanine, because he would have had the Citrus recovery. So now I get the free switching into Magnezone as well. Now the thing is, I can't just Thunderbolt freely because there is the threat of Marowak in the back. However, for example, if he just switches Arcanine into Marowak, then I'll just be able to pick up a knockout with Liquidation. I could also Z Liquidation here in case he protects Arcanine. And I might just do that. Yeah, I do kind of... Because I don't need the Z move here, really. I'm going to go for it in case he protects. And I'll still Thunderbolt that slot. Because if Marowak switches in, then Arachnid can just threaten it next turn. Oh, he actually Extreme Speeds. This is really good for me, though, I think. Because he stays in with both. So I do waste my Z move, unfortunately. But Fini could actually be slower. That's the other concern. But I will pick up a double knockout here, most likely. Unless the Fini's super, like, max HP, max special defense. So, a more offensive Arcanine with Citrus Berry, that's a pretty interesting build. Yeah, I was thinking my opponent would want to double protect there just to stall out a Trick Room. So I was trying to capitalize off it, and I didn't feel like I needed the Z move. That might come to haunt me later on, though. As I get a crit, too, just to add insult to injury. Let's see. Okay, I am faster with Magnezone. That's good, so I do get the Specs Thunderbolt off against the Fini. And it picks up the one-hit knockout. That's excellent. So I figured, okay, if Arcanine switches out, then I'll just knock out the Marowak anyway and pick up a double knockout. And if Fini switches out, then I'll still knock out Arcanine regardless. And then the next turn I can just pressure that slot. So Vanillix comes in now. Let's see what the fourth Pokemon is. Porygon Z. Okay, so there actually wasn't even a Marowak, which explains why my opponent didn't switch out. That's pretty good. I really want to double up right now into something. Intuition says Porygon Z. Yeah, I'm gonna double up into Porygon Z because one, it could have Z conversion. If he protects, Vanillix shouldn't be able to knock me out. I guess he could have Freeze Dry for Arachnid. Actually, no, my opponent just forfeits. Okay, I don't think it was necessarily over yet. Like, my opponent definitely still had outs there, but if like, those Pokemon are both Pokemon that often like to carry choice items, which is why I did want to double up in a Porygon, because especially in that team comp that we've seen a fair amount of, there are a lot of choice scarfs on the Porygon Z. Otherwise, it's probably like the Z move, but Vanillux's damage, like, you're normally just using Blizzard with Vanillux, and if it is choice and it locks itself into Blizzard, then, you know, Magnezone kind of just walls the entire time. So I felt pretty comfortable about the position there, and after the turn where I picked up the double knockout, like, I'm sure my opponent was not expecting the choice specs on Magnezone, and wasn't expecting Fini to fame. We're gonna find Ricardo from Portugal for our second opponent of the day. He's a really excellent player on Battle Spot, and he's, yeah, always been really high up on Battle Spot in previous seasons, so this should be fun. He's using a team of Tapu Fini, Kartana, Garchomp, the Mandibuzz, Vanillux, and the the Arcanine. So, pretty funny because this is a very similar team comp to the last game, like, you know, Fini, Arcanine, and the Vanillux. So, typically, the Mandibuzzes on those teams have Taunt, potential Whirlwind. I'm just afraid of him having two ways to stop Trick Room at once. So I'm definitely still looting Porygon. And I think I need Hariyama just for the fake out pressure still. This time around there is no, what's it called? Marowak. So maybe I don't bring Arachnid this time, maybe I just go Magnezone Porygon too. I think I like that. Sorry, Magnezone Drampa. But he does potentially have Snarl, so I don't want to bring all physical attackers. Okay, I'll go with the Arcanine still, because Z Liquidation still one-shots 4 of his 6 Pokemon. So, this is going to be an exciting game. His rating is obviously quite high as well. I realize we're rocking the same shirt in-game. Our characters look pretty similar, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And he definitely recognizes Gavin's team and probably knows the ins and outs about it, so that will make this a little bit trickier for me. But we'll see if we can play our way out. So we see Fini and Arcanine again. That seems to be kind of like the go-to lead. Typically I fake out the Fini. I'm worried that Arcanine has a way to stop Trick Room though. And the other frustrating thing about this lead is I pretty much always get the attack increase, but I'm kind of forced to lead Hariyama Porygon too because I need to get Trick Room up. And if I lead anything else, maybe if I went with the Arachnid, like I can still threaten with damage. But I will Trick Room here. I think I'll just fake out Fini again. But Arcanine could have like Roar or something like that. Fini flinches. Yeah, called it. I had a feeling he probably had like... I don't know what Fini set that is. Let's see what switches in. It's gonna be Magnezone. And he's lefties as well, so it's likely that I taunt. And that's the trouble with running hard Trick Room. This is bad. I don't know if I can even get up, like, okay, if it's Fire Z move Arcanine, that will kind of wreck me as well, so I might have to switch back out into Porygon. This is not good. Switch back out into Porygon and go for a knockoff onto Fini. Yeah, so I thought that maybe there was Roar. He also picked his Pokemon really quickly, so I assume he has a very set strategy against this kind of team. Arcanine does Flare Blitz, okay. It does target down Magnezone, so that's good at least. Because I don't lose Magnezone. I was contemplating staying in, but I was like, eh, probably not. Oh, it's Calm Mind Fini as well. That's really ugly. Oh, especially without electric terrain. However, that means he probably doesn't have Taunt. I do at least get rid of its leftovers. So I should have faked out Arcanine turn 1, but after seeing Tom feeding the last game, I was obviously in like the wrong mindset. I want to recover here. My goal should be to basically get Hariyama and Porygon out at the same time once again. Okay, I'm gonna recover and switch into Magnezone. Yeah. Actually, this is risky, because if I lose Magnezone, I lose my main way of hitting Fini, but Fini can't recover anymore, at least. Moonblast, okay, onto the Hari slot. But he could have very likely doubled up onto that slot. No, he went for the Roar again, okay. So that's good at least. There's so many mind games going on right now. Yeah. Okay, Hariyama comes back in. So, here's the other tricky thing. I have the potential Faint Mind game. I'd love to just fake out Thunderbolt right now. But Arcanine could very well easily protect. But he also knows I have Feint. I'm gonna go for the fake out play. It's pretty obvious, but I'm still gonna go for it. Okay, he doesn't protect with either. Although he's probably going for a Muddy Water here. Oh no, he just Moonblasts. Okay. So I do lose Hari. I think Thunderbolt should knock out Arcanine here, though I really hope it does. Okay. So we trade knockouts. I lose Hariyama. He's still at +1 with Fini. I'll bring Porygon back out. So setting up Trick Room might be a little bit easier now. Unless the Fini still does have Taunt. Because we haven't seen anything but Moonblast and Calm Mind, and it hasn't protected yet. Garchomp. That's not good either. Could be good if I get up Trick Room, though. Another attack increase, which is unfortunate. Definitely Trick Room here. What does he have in the back? Like, would I rather have a Araquanid? He probably Z-moves into... If I'm him, I Z-move into Magnezone and Moonblast. So I either lose Magnezone or Araquanid. He definitely knows I'm Choice Spec as well. I think if to bite the bullet and sacrifice Magnezone here. I don't feel comfortable with a Choice user in the late game. And I'll just go for the Hail Mary Thunderbolt onto Fini. Yeah, so we do see the ground DMZ. I read into that, but it was like I either lose Magnezone or Araquanid, and there's nothing I can do about that. So this will definitely knock out unless he targets down the Porygon side. Like maybe he doubles into Porygon, hoping to pick up with the knockout. But I think if you're him, you know you have +1 with Fini, so you just go for it. You allow me to set up Trick Room. Yeah. So we do see Tectonic Rage coming out. That will pick up the knockout. But like I said, I would rather have Araquanid and Porygon under Trick Room. He does go for a second Calm Mind as well, which I think is a really solid play. Oh, that might actually just knock out Araquanid as well, which is very bad. I get Trick Room up, and I get Araquanid in, but CM Fini is just not fun. I have full 4 turns of Trick Room, though, so that's like the one thing I've got going for me. I don't knock out Garchomp with Ice Beam without a download boost. He probably knows I have Z Liquidation as well. I want to read that Fini protects here. He hasn't even revealed Protect yet, though. Maybe he doesn't even have it. I'm gonna Thunderbolt and Protect, though. Because I want him to put him in KO range from a Liquidation plus a Thunderbolt. Okay, no. So Fini does Protect, so he does have Protect. What is Garchomp? Does Garchomp Protect? Yeah, so he just goes for the safe double Protect play. I would say that works out more in my favor than anything. But the thing is, now, Fini's at +2. He could just Moonblast me. Ice Beam won't knock out Chomp, so he could just double up into Araquanid. And I don't think Thunderbolt plus Liquidation knocks out Fini. And if he just double ups onto Araquanid, I lose, whereas I could probably survive a +2 Moonblast. So I'm going for the Z move on a Garchomp, but I don't think I have enough resources to win this at this point, unless I crit a Thunderbolt. I don't think +2 Moonblast knocks me out because he's probably pretty defensive. But the issue here is he just doubles up into Araquanid because I protected last turn. So at least if I do this attack, he won't be able to knock me out most likely because Z Liquidation knocks out Garchomp. Yep. And I get Thunderbolt damage off as well, but I might be fishing for a crit at this point. Yeah, that doesn't do very much. He's just going to Moonblast into a Araquanid, presumably. Yep. So I take that decently well, but another one will knock me out. The last one's Cortana, okay. Is there any way I could win this? I still have 2 more turns of Trick Room. Maybe I actually should have just Z-moved into Fini. I thought Moonblast would do more there. And I think Araquanid could actually survive the attack from Garchomp. So that might have been a misplay there. I'm gonna Ice Beam Cortana and Protect. Because I want to scout out for Protect on his end right now. Though last time I did that actually worked against me. See, he doesn't Protect with either, which is a good play. And that's AV Cortana as well, which is bad. Sacred Sword, yep. Don't think I can win this one. Especially with the Assault Vest on the Cortana. If I had a special attack increase from download, that would have been a lot more helpful. But that's not the case. So he should just protect Fini here. I mean, I could double up into Fini hoping for a crit, but I know Cortana has Assault Vest, so like Fini could very well protect here. But if he doesn't... Oh, I'm running out of time. Ice Beam Liquidation into Cortana. Yeah, he doesn't protect, which is also a good play. I don't think I could have won this without any RNG, though. Ooh, that Liquidation actually did more than I expected. Can Ice Beam knock out Cortana here? Oh, close, but no cigar. So I could have Thunderbolted Liquidation. Yeah, if I pick up that knockout, then it's like Porygon 2 versus Tapu Fini. And then it's a question of how many Calm Minds does he get versus can I crit? And he most likely Moonblasted and Leaf Bladed into my Arachnid there. So yeah, this was a really tricky one, and in a best of one, it's like, yeah, that Roar just made things really difficult. And because it's one of those games where you like kind of get affected by the previous one. Now he just doubles up and wins the game. Really well played by him though, and yeah, Roar and Arcanine is just a pretty difficult tech. And it's really difficult, like Arcanine plus Fini, that's picking up a lot of popularity in this metagame. I actually survived with 1 HP, but Moonblast will finish up the job. So yeah, I'm guessing that, given that we also saw Protect from Fini, he obviously didn't have Taunt on Fini, so the correct play would have been just a Fake Out turn 1 onto Arcanine and Trick Room. But, you know, once again, it's likely that Fini could have Taunt and Arcanine could have Roar as well, and both of those are techs like you don't know until you see it. So, I'm okay with how that ended up playing out, like, for the Roar, and I think Arcanine plus Fini is just kind of a tricky lead matchup as well, especially if they're Calm Mind, because if they're Calm Mind, then, you know, your main ways of hitting Fini at this team are like Thunderbolt from Porygon 2 and Thunderbolt from Magnezone, but it's difficult to, you know, get Magnezone in a safe position where you can Thunderbolt. Perhaps one play I could have also made was going for the Thunderbolt onto Fini earlier, but I knew if that was the case, then I wouldn't be able to set up Trick Room. I'd say the biggest difference I could have made in this matchup was if I Z-Liquidation into the Fini slot and Thunderbolted that turn just to do a ton of physical damage to it, because it, you know, will still take a lot of damage physically. Garchomp will take damage, but then the next turn, I don't know, maybe I could double up into something. I don't think I had enough resources there in the late game to win the game with my Porygon 2 and my Arachnid. Of course, I could have switched Magnezone out into Arachnid, but then I lose the Arachnid, and then it's like Porygon 2 plus Magnezone. Can that close up the deal? And the issue with that is, you know, I can't Thunderbolt Garchomp, and if I lose my Porygon, then I just lose the game. Maybe switching out into Magnezone would have been better, but he could just Earthquake for a knockout because Ice Beam wouldn't knock him out, and Muddy Water. So I could have locked myself into Flash Cannon, I guess, but Calm Mind made things really tricky. So that's the other tough thing about playing against Tapu Finis in this format. Like, a lot of them are specs nowadays, but we obviously have seen, like, bulkier Calm Mind variants, like that's what Enosh ran over in San Jose. And, excuse me, we've also seen, like, Taunt variants with Leftovers, which was what we had in the previous game. So, without knowing the Fini side, it's also pretty tricky because it either goes really defensive or hyper offensive. And if it's hyper offensive, then it just knocks you out. If it's defensive, it could have Taunt, or you could just stall out games with Calm Mind. But yeah, really well played by Ricardo there. I think maybe I should have just faked out Arcanine, but once again, that was like a call where it's like, I don't know the team, so I was just going for the fake out. But it is more likely, is it? Let Arcanine carries Taunt or Roar over Fini with Taunt. Probably. I would say, since offensive Finis are still more likely, Taunt on Fini isn't exactly that common, but we did run into it in the first game, so tough calls to make. But yeah, I'm pretty content with the episode overall, and overall the plays were okay. I think that's one of the nuances of this team. It's like if your opponent knows what's coming your way and they do have ways to stop Hard Trick Room, then you basically just lose. And or, you know, you have a very difficult time. And one of the reasons why Gavin was able to have such success with this team in San Jose was because people just didn't have counters to Hard Trick Room at all. Like, very few people were prepared for it. So now people are obviously teching in a little bit more for it. Part of the reason why I do want to switch teams as well, just because this team is picking up a lot of steam, obviously. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Some really fun games. As always, please leave a like if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.